everybody
Hey,
today.
y'all.
We rushed home. We've been out. Dana
We got here 2
speeded.
minutes ago. Don't tell him I was speeding.
You're speeding. You're breaking the law. Oh, see there? That's domestic assault right there.
He don't know domestic assault.
Hope everybody's doing good. I'm actually waiting. I think Tony may come in with us tonight. I've invited him, talked to him way early today. He's teaching at a junior college um, paramedics. I guess that's what you call it. But he said he would try to, so we're kind of waiting on him. However, I am going to go ahead and start talking and see what y'all think about some of the stuff. Have y'all what did any of y'all watch the hour long video of the body cam incident involving Gabby and her boyfriend Brian uh, when the police were called on them? The way I understand, it started in a coffee shop. They had been there between 9 and 3 in the afternoon, probably because they didn't have any internet where they were staying. So they had to get internet at a coffee shop. And then when things kind of got out of hand there, they left in a vehicle and they were driving real erratic. And the police were called about him, and he got behind them and he used the probable cause stop that they were intoxicated to get them stopped. And if you have not watched it, I want you to go back and watch it. It's uh, pretty eye opening. I'm gonna try to pull up, show you the page so that you can look at it. Let me see. This may be it. I took a yeah. If you show the red arrow up here, that is the
Oh my!
actual YouTube page where the video starts. What do you look? What are you saying on?
Rhonda said the coffee shop was where one of the murdered couple worked.
Yeah,
That's bizarre.
that we're going to talk a little bit about that uh here, and I'll go ahead and get into that right now before we get into the main topic tonight. Uh, Here's a picture of course, the couple that were murdered. They are two females. They were, the way I understand it, were they just got married, or possibly were living partners. But and then you got, of course, Gabby and her boyfriend. Uh, yeah, there's Tony. I see him there. I'm having a little bit of time with the light here. Hold on just a minute. Let me see if I can get him on here. Uh, Tony, if you're with me, here's just hang on just a minute. The murdered couple, they both were staying in the same campground. Hello, Tony. How you?
Hey, Tony.
Oh, Tony. Uh,
Hey y'all, how are
uh,
Hey,
y'all?
y'all. Hey, y'all.
they were. You gotta have to scoot over, Dean, if you want to get in this picture.
That's
Uh,
okay. I don't care about being in the picture.
uh,
They didn't.
what it
They ain't
was,
here to see me.
the uh, the the couple, and I hate everybody's using the lesbian couple as the way to describe them. It has no bearing really on why they were murdered. I don't think, but they claim to be in the same campground as Gabby and her boyfriend. But you have got to remember, it wasn't really a campground. They were in the same park, national park, which was probably, you know, 300 square miles. So it's not like that. I don't really think they had anything to do with each other. I really don't. But they could. They are. Look, it's an open investigation, and they are looking into it. But I think this disappearance of Gabby came straight out of a broken engagement, and that's just my opinion. I'm going to get into Tony because I did send Tony a copy of that police report today. But we're going to go over a few things here, Tony, at first, and then we'll discuss that police report. This, of course, is Gabby in a happier time when they had beginning their van journey with her boyfriend slash fiance. And this was the statement that he had made till death do us part before the trip. And that's kind of came back as a haunting statement that he made. Um, this is actually a picture of from the body cam. Now, I did not have a chance to send that to you, Tony, but they had where the police stopped from that police report. They do have an hour-long body cam where they talked to her and him. And as I was saying, just as you were coming on, uh, they apparently were in a coffee shop from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the evening, working on their YouTube, probably editing or trying to upload their YouTube video. Because if you don't have a strong internet, I honestly, it has taken me 26 hours to upload a 4K video to YouTube when I didn't have strong internet. Now it takes me about an hour because I have strong internet, or not even an hour. Sometimes I can do it in a lot less time. But if you don't, a lot of people that have a YouTube channel will go out to these coffee shops and use it because they usually have very fast internet. And that's where they got into this argument and left the coffee shop. And apparently they were arguing as they're driving down the road because the police officer said they were all over the road. And he thought maybe they were intoxicated, but it turns out they were having an argument as they drove down the road. What'd you say?
Brian had a conceal and carry.
Oh, he did. He was carrying a weapon.
Lake Spear says Brian had a conceal and carry.
Huh.
So,
Well, I'm sure if this is part of the thing here. I took a screenshot, and also it says police in Utah released body cam footage showing officers interacting with Gabby and Brian, and a witness called 911 2 weeks before she disappeared, saying that it's possible domestic violence incident, and he said he needed to report it because it could be worse. So, he saw something, but I'm gonna be very honest with you. I have seen people go to jail for a lot less, and in Alabama, actually, if you strike somebody, if the like where she said that she hit him, a lot of times she would go to jail because that could be construed as domestic violence. But apparently, these park police, they didn't believe that it rose to that level, and they were having some type of mental crisis. But I wanted to show you this. He's got a spot on his face there, if you see it, a little scratch spot right below the eye. And you can see it slightly. It was slightly better from the picture that I actually copied. But I'm gonna get into talking with Tony here in a second. I wanted you to go over this arrest report with me first, but I wanted to read this here. A witness of not called 911 around 4:30 p.m. on August the 12th, possible domestic violence near Moonflower Community Cooperative in Moab, said that they saw that would be Gabby and her boyfriend arguing over a phone. The driver of the van, a male, had some sort of argument with the female, Gabby, a responding officer wrote in the report. The male tried to create a distance by telling Gabby to go take a walk, calm down. And then basically what I read and into the heard on the tape was he locked her out of the van, but she crawled back through the window somehow or another. That's what I read. But I'm going to skip on down to this report, and I want you to go over this. But go ahead, Tony. Tell me right off the bat before we climb into this report what you gathered from it.
I don't know. To me, it was like there was some things that they really didn't question more. You would have thought that in an hour video, they would have gotten a whole lot more information than what I saw on that report. But it just seemed like there was like some missing links. Maybe they're doing that on purpose. I'm not really sure. I don't know what the purpose would be, but it did seem kind of, you know, I just thought it was kind of odd on that part. Other than that, yeah, just like you said, people have, of course, been arrested for domestic violence, even with what took place. That has happened. Maybe the officers were using a judgment call based on that they both were, you know, having some sort of medical scenario. I mean, I understand that, but I would like to know, and I have not been able to find this out, and maybe you can look this up or tell me. Do you know if she talked to her parents, or when the last time that she talked to parents or family or anybody to the official last time that someone actually made contact with her?
The mother claims that she had a text from her around the 24th or 25th, but an actual phone call from her mother, FaceTime phone call, I think was the 24th of last month. The thing is, it was 10 days before
Mhm.
she's reported missing, and the guy had actually been home for 10 days prior to her family even getting in contact or knowing she was missing. 10 days.
Okay.
They were supposed to be engaged, and they lived together 2 years before they went on this trip.
So what is his, has he made any sort of plea in the media or anything?
He said lawyer.
That's all he's done. He came home and got a lawyer.
He came home right away and got a lawyer. But the thing was, they approached the police down there in I think it was Lightport or Port Light or some. I can't think of the name of the community now, but they went to his house, and his parents opened the door and handed him a piece of paper and shut the door. And the paper said, "Contact our lawyer at this address. We do not want to cooperate." So I mean,
Wow.
he has said he's
Okay.
not going to cooperate with police at all.
So
Period.
so Tommy and I had this conversation. If your child called you and said, "Oh my gosh, I've done something. I pushed Gabby over the cliff, or I killed her, I shot her, whatever," what would you tell him to do? And there's a part of you as a parent, your son is going to jail for the rest of his life unless something comes up otherwise. So as a parent, my first reaction would be call the police, get them there. Maybe she's not dead, or whatever. But these parents, evidently he called probably, and they said, "Come straight home. We'll call the police. We'll call the lawyer and let it go from there." And they didn't even report her
Not for
missing.
10 days. The thing is, I could see the guy saying, "Okay, look, they got in an argument, they pushed each other, she fell off the cliff." I'm thinking that might have happened. And then once the police get there, lawyer up. But at least get the police out there. But apparently they're not telling him the last place that he saw her, not anything. But now let's dive into this a little bit. This is an actual copy of the police report. Um,
Well, just think about this before you go into the report. If there was negligible homicide, then, okay, even an attorney can come forward and say, my client made a mistake or whatever. And then that can be their defense of a lesser charge shy of murder, manslaughter, and so on. So, yeah, it is kind of that's pretty bad. It's a bad situation.
Well, I brought it up to Medina is this, he could have went home, got this attorney, and attorney told him, don't comment on anything. And even
Hmm.
if he could go and tell the attorney, hey, the girl's buried in the middle of the desert. And as long as it's attorney client privilege, that lawyer cannot tell the police. He can't tell them
You can't.
anything
Hmm.
because the attorney client privilege. He can't do it. I mean, we worked, and I told this last night. Me and when I was
But
working,
now we both know this. There has been attorneys that have done that, and they wasn't supposed to.
yeah, I mean they lose
Yeah.
their license if
So
they
we
do.
talked a little bit
We
about
talked
that.
about that. I mean, we had a situation when I worked up in Huntsville where a guy got shot twice, and the lawyer on the other guy that shot him knew that it was not an accident, and he just refused to say anything. And they never did. They never did could prosecute him, as far as I know, because the lawyer just said,
Yeah.
"Don't say anything." And I'm afraid in this case,
Okay.
very well could do
Can they
that.
be charged? Can his parents be charged with accessory?
Yeah, if they feel like his parents covered it up, but he could say, "Well, I contacted my attorney. My attorney doesn't. My His parents could have got the same attorney. I mean, even though that I wouldn't do that, but he could. His parents could have got a same attorney
Hmm.
and said, we're not cooperating with the police at all." And of course, I don't know if they could turn around and get in trouble because of
Now,
it is kind of like aiding and abetting, actually. But
all right, Nellie says, in today's social media misinformation world, if innocent, I would lawyer up and stay silent and advise my children to do the same. I
yeah,
agree. I would. We've already told our kids, if you get stopped and they read you your rights, the first thing out of your mouth is lawyer. I
well,
don't care who it is, FBI,
I
I agree
I
with.
had
I agree. I agree with that too. However, I know that there's some. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I had an FBI agent tell me that one time. He said, "Tommy, if the FBI or any federal officer ever reads you your rights, first thing out of your mouth is lawyer. Because if you lie to a federal agent, it's 5 years. It don't matter if you lie about the color of your dog. You can't. You lie to a federal agent,
Unless un- you
5 years."
unless you're a politician. If you're a
That's
politician,
true.
you can lie to the FBI.
That's true. But I did want to let's.
Politicians are held above all standards of reprieve. Only us low little citizens are have to follow the rules of the Constitution.
Yeah, you are very correct on that. Let's go with this first page though together. I'm
No, I
gonna.
would agree with what she. I would agree with what she said, though. Oh, I just wanted to say I would agree with what she's saying about, and as y'all have said too, about getting an attorney. And I do understand that for the purpose of anybody should always want to protect their family.
yeah.
But I know that you've got some attorneys that will just plainly come out too and go to the press immediately and say, "Hey, look, my client's not going to give a statement. However, we believe uh, that we can absolutely prove the case that there is no foul play here or whatever." And they've had those kind of situations where attorneys did that too, at least to limit the, peanut gallery, as they call it, to everybody kind of judge and lay this and that out here for social media and stuff.
Yeah, don't you agree though too that I mean it makes him look incredibly guilty if he leaves her out there and comes back to their house where they'd been living, and then refuses to tell him where he last saw her, where she went. I mean, this is just very, very cruel to the family, but it makes him look guilty as everything, and any circumstantial evidence is going to pile on with that.
And because of the way
Well,
he's act,
apparently, with them both having, oh, I'm sorry,
it's okay.
we
What I
have a
was
delay.
saying,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. What I'm saying is, because of the way he's acted, he looks guiltier than anything.
Yeah,
This
and in the public's perception, that definitely looked that way for all that.
this first page, Tony, it says here they had the offense of disorderly conduct. Basically, is what it was. Uh, they said type location convenience store, so obviously it was not the coffee shop; it was a convenience store. Um, they had Christopher with the name redacted is the witness, and then it
Hmm.
shows Brian Christopher Laundrie and Gabrielle Petito, and she goes by Gabby. Let's go back to the
Yeah,
page.
and this report, if it happened at the coffee shop or it happened at a convenience store, you would, unless their argument is to say, oh, well, the store sells coffee, so that's why they call it a coffee shop.
Yeah, well,
But still,
they were there 6 hours, so I
yeah,
imagine
that's kind of
it's gonna
odd
be
to be a convenience store for 6 hours.
this is page 2. Let's see. They're different than our reports by far. Uh, Eric Pratt, I think he is an officer that first what got dispatched. Officers dispatched a report of a domestic problem that had taken place near Moonflower Co-op, which whatever that is. It uh, it appeared that the male female had left the scene traveling north on Main in a white Ford Transit van with a black ladder on the rear after the male and female had engaged in some sort of altercation. It wasn't clear, but I believe that it was reported that the male had been observed to have assaulted the female, which that is not the what I heard was that she actually slapped him, but I don't know if uh, how that goes. Said I heard other officers report that they were off to look for the vehicle, and being that I had
Hmm.
passed the Moonflower in order to get to Main Street, I stopped there to see if any witnesses were still in the area. I found one identified as Chris, and the last name is redacted. I took down the phone number and left the scene uh, because I heard Officer D. Robbins tell dispatch that he located the suspect vehicle near the turn to Arches National Park. I heard him state upon initiating a traffic stop and he observed the vehicle leave the lane and strike the curb before stopping near the entrance to the park. So this is basically he's just establishing as we used to do his PC for going out there.
Hmm.
Let's
One thing do you know the answer to this question? Is this vehicle they were driving, was it a rental vehicle? Was it their vehicle? Was it hers or his vehicle? What was the deal with that?
It was in her name. However, it was a one that they had built together. They had converted it into a where they could sleep, where they could eat, they could do their work inside. They had baited it, basically built it into like living in it. I don't know if they had bathroom facilities inside, but they had built it up to live in it.
Okay, so where's the vehicle now?
Police have it.
Uh, well, I don't know if they still have it. He drove it back to the house where they were living in Florida, and police seized it, and the FBI and the local police uh, ran a forensics check on the vehicle. And the way I understand it, they had a press conference the other day where they did say that they did obtain some evidence from the vehicle, but they won't say what, whether it was blood or some
Or
type of
whatever.
evidence. No. Mm.
Okay. Yeah,
This
that's what I would that's what I'd be interested in. So
Yeah, this is page 3, and I'm just going to go through. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, he talks about assisting and I can't hardly even read this. It's so small. I'm getting old, Anthony or Tony. Let me pull it up closer to me here. Uh, all
look
right.
at that squinching. You having to squinch even with
Yeah, I know it.
bifocals.
It's small print. Uh, he talks about he tried to create some type of calm, get her to walk down the road, and then he tried to separate. But this is him talking too. We don't know what
See,
actually.
now you finally opened your eyes. If you'd quit looking like Mr. Magoo there and read the thing.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's see. Let me see. I lost my place there. Oh, no one reported that the male struck the female. Both the male and female reported that they were in love, engaged in a and to be married, and desperately didn't wish to see either one of them be charged. They both also said they had some type of serious anxiety, OCD, various things like that. She said, but she was sobbing during that interview on tape. She was actually sobbing. He was not, but males tend to hold their emotions in check. She's only 5'2" to 5'4", 110 to 120 pounds.
Mm,
Um, they did do something which we always tried to get these people to separate and go to a friend's house, or if it was a real bad domestic, we might try to get them to some type of the female to some type of safe haven. But apparently they have a safe haven law out there, and they got him a room at a motel under the safe haven law, and she stayed with the van. Is what I
mm.
understand. Um,
So how did they reconnect? Is my question.
uh,
Because most of the safe homes are set up to where they can't know where they're at, and they
well,
won't allow them to reconnect without the one other person trying to reconnect with them, kind of thing.
I think they put him in a motel. They just had this safe haven type thing where they
Mm.
paid. It's paid for them. That's the way I understand it. Let's see here. All right, let's see. He had no
So
fear
they
of
were at
his
the
safety.
entrance. Were they at the entrance of a federal or state park?
Yeah, they were just about to turn into Arches Park, but all that area is almost one huge park out there. You got Arches, you got Arches, you got Zion, Bryce, Arches,
Right, but is that
Stairgate,
but is that
Monument
a
Valley.
federal or state?
No, they're all national parks.
Okay.
Uh, says here too. It said he had no fear of his safety and did not exhibit any indications that he may be a victim of battered boyfriend
Mm-hmm.
syndrome, etc.
Mm-hmm.
He was he was assessed to be low risk of danger or harm as a result of his proximity to his fiancee, Gabby.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing further. And then it goes on this. That was Officer Pratt. Then Officer Robbins says in his that he responded to this domestic violence in progress call. The van, talks about being out with the van, and reported seeing a male later identified as Brian Laundrie and a female later identified as Gabrielle Petito argue over a phone. Now, I don't know why they're arguing over a phone. They both, I think, have phones, but maybe he had been texting somebody, or my information and what I've gathered is she wanted to call off the engagement, and that's where it came down to. And he said in his earlier thing, death do us part.
Mm-hmm.
um Says here, Christopher stated that when Brian got into the van, he saw what appeared to him as Gabby hitting Brian in the arm and then climbing through the driver's window as Brian had locked her out and she was trying to find a way in. So
Mhm.
obviously they're having some issues.
Somebody has a question for Tony. What do you expect for the next few days?
For me or for Tommy?
For you, it's for you. They said,
Oh,
Tony.
um, being that I hadn't got to hear every little thing about the case, I just saw a blip on it on the news today on one of my little news feeds on my phone, and I looked at it and kind of read the back article. But you would think that the district attorney or even a federal uh, prosecutor that might be in charge or investigating the case, they'll be given some sort of information about where the case is and everything, because this is obviously an active investigation where you have a missing person that is, there is a possible foul play scenario. So that is what you would probably be seeing. However, I'm sure that they're fine tuning in the background, uh, whether it be digital forensics, going back over their actual forensics that they recovered from the vehicle, trying to restep and retrace any back trail. And with the FBI working it, they'll go back and they'll get video footages of stores they could have went by, stores that they might have been in, um, banks, teller, ATM, whatever they can get. They're going to start going and doing those types of forensic gathering, if you will, and then that's what will give them the, um, I guess you'd say, the outline or the skeleton of putting everything together, put the skin and the meat and the organs kind of together. And I hate to say it like that, but in essence, when you build the case and you build the everything, I mean, you got to start from scratch and work your way up. So
Yeah, and one thing I heard today in a press conference, somebody, a reporter asked, "Are you pulling the cell phone data?" And he said, "We're pulling cell phone data on everybody's phone. They're pulling all the video, like you said. They're going to all these. They're tracing his phone from the time he left wherever he was at all the way back to his home in Florida, trying to get where he actually stopped to get gas. Look at his demeanor, look at his clothing." And I'm, like I said before, I don't know. Everybody says that they last seen or heard from in the Grand Tetons, but the last Instagram photos and all that, they were in Utah. So I'm not sure where they were last seen together. Let's go this last page here, Tony, and see if there's anything that stands out. I did not read this report. I did, like I said, I watched the entire hour long body cam footage, and
mhm.
it says basically in here that Gabby or Gabrielle, but Gabby was inconsolable at times, crying. She exhibited some type of even mental type breakdown. But it does say here that Brian uh he said that I was able to get Safe Haven to contact Safe Haven. So that's a, I guess, a group that does that to get Brian a hotel room for the night. I instructed both of them to take advantage of the time apart and to relax their emotions and to regain control of their anxiety. Also asked them to avoid contacting each other until the next morning as possible. And Gabrielle maintained possession of the van while I transported Brian to the hotel. They did both have their own cell phones in case of emergency. Around 1900 hours, and that is 7 o'clock p.m., as you know, I went to, and it's redacted out, where I witnessed Christopher Blank lived, and had him
Hmm.
fill out a statement from a statement form. Christopher told me that he was not entirely sure what he had seen, but feared the worst, which is why he came forward as a witness and agreed to complete a written statement. So, obviously it was far enough gone that he was fearing that something was going to happen.
Right.
There's a lot of theories on this, a whole lot, and I wonder if they got into some type of fight. There might have come to a shoving match, and one of them fell. She might have fell off a cliff, and
Hmm.
so he panics, calls his parents. They tell him, "Come home right now. We'll get an attorney." And maybe he is going to say, "Well, she jumped. She was suicidal." Who knows? But he is not cooperating at all, and I think that's a bad thing in this case for sure.
Well, if they both had a telephone, as well as I do, they'll be able to do a whole lot of evidence tracing with that. And we live in a time, if folks don't realize it, especially with the putting up the 5G towers and things like that. You dial 911 on your cell phone, it comes up with pretty much GPS coordinates of being able to pinpoint down to feet where you're at. So, um, I mean that this should be something that they can, being that it's as fresh as it is, uh, be able to move rather swiftly on some of that evidence and retrace steps, and then go back to the locations that they, you know, last were at and stuff. And then if they have to, they can always go back and retrace where the phone was from A to Z, kind of thing.
I saw it when as this somebody said on here, 99% of us have a cell. I currently do not have a cell. I guess I'm the 1%. Go ahead, Dina. What?
I was just going to say, this is how rumors get started. Someone in one of our subscribers said, um, Gabby would have been better off with a dog. And then after that, several people started saying, oh, I hadn't heard anything about a dog. They had a dog. So they did not have a dog. And we've made that,
Mm.
Yeah, I
that's,
don't think they had a
they did
dog.
not have a dog. Um, and I don't know. He said he didn't have a cell phone and then he pulled one out of his pocket. So, um,
But she said she had OCD and major anxiety. Um, I don't know. Both of them apparently they had some anxiety issues, but I don't think that's going to lead. That doesn't say anything about other than they did freak out, of course.
Mhm.
But
I'm wondering if this Chris guy was a bystander. Did he know them at all?
apparently did not know them. He just witnessed it.
okay. Somebody says the digital info will be a ton of info. What about the truck's black box, Tony?
Well, it depends on it. Depends, like you. I remember y'all saying this vehicle was made by them, put together, or whatever. Depends on the year.
Well,
If some vehicles today have computer boxes in them, that yes, they can be traced where they were and where they've been just in the vehicle itself, and not necessarily a cell phone or a need for a cell phone. So yes, that is true.
it was a
But I don't
2000,
know. I don't know what the year model. Yeah. What is it?
2012.
It may not have. What type of vehicle, or what's the make?
It was like a transit van, and I hold on just a minute. I think I got a picture of the van. Uh, let's see.
What's the
No, hold on.
make?
Right
Like
here,
who's the maker of it per se?
I think it's a Ford Transit van. This was the van. They have the van, of course, but this was the first picture of it here. You see it in the right side there.
It was probably does have a box then because it was
Oh
probably
yeah.
a delivery truck. you know?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Just because it has a box now, the reason, the computer that they had on the Morphew truck, he had a commercial truck.
Yeah.
So it had a lot more stuff that they got off of that. I think they would be able to trace I don't know if they would be able to trace it from point A to point B. They might tell it how fast it went, or you've done accident reconstruction. The black box does tell speed and brake,
Speed,
all that.
braking, and seat belts, all that stuff.
It doesn't tell GPS coordinates, right?
It
What?
depends on the year, make, and model.
And also what it was used for. If it was a delivery van, which that's what it looks like to me, then the company that owned it probably would have had that on there, wouldn't they?
Maybe, but it's not. That's not on GPS. Is not. It's not available on all of them. They'd be more apt, I think, to ping in their phone than they would be there looking at their
Yeah,
truck.
I I I tend to agree. The phone's probably going to give a whole lot of information. However, 2012. I mean, it's a toss up. That's about the year when they started putting better, chip modified computers into vehicles. 2016 and up really has the majority of them.
Uh, excuse me, Tony. What was that award you got yesterday?
Oh, 30 years being a national registered paramedic
Hold on.
here in the Grand United States.
30 years as being a national
Yeah, there you go.
recognized paramedic in the United States of America.
Yeah,
Everybody
you
should
want to
be.
see the you want to see the you want to see the picture?
Yes, everybody should be very proud of Tony. This is very hard to do, and
Hold on a
he's
minute. Hold on a
accomplished.
minute.
He's accomplished this. This is not something you do in a couple of years of schooling. A paramedic basically is one step below a doctor, in my opinion. A lot of times doctor's office, they'll have some type of heart attack or something in there. They'll call paramedics over there because they got a lot more equipment on board than a straight doctor's office does, and they can do a lot too. Uh, quick medicine and do a lot of
Okay.
stuff.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, I was just telling what a paramedic basically can do. It's the National Register.
Well,
Wait, keep it steady there and let me see if I can read it.
oh, you can't
No,
read it. The writing's too small, but it just says 30 years of National Registry EMS. The above named individual has served the community by providing care for fellow citizens in their moment of need. The board of directors and the entire EMS community appreciates and commends this extraordinary contribution given, of course, now. They sent it to me last week, but it's just recognizing that I've been a paramedic and an instructor for 30 years.
Well, we could tell that by the gray hair.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you something, Tony, with your paramedic background. If he would have left her, say, in the desert down there, if he just had a full, say they went hiking, they got into it, maybe he pushed her down, maybe she's hurt, but she's not dead. How long do you think she could survive out there without being found if she was in a remote area?
Healthy.
If
Somebody
she's
can be
healthy,
out in the wild. Yeah, healthy, out in the wilderness without the ability to have water. Usually around 5 to 7 days, that's when somebody's really going to start, having dehydration to a point that it's bad. Depending on the weather, though, weather has a lot of factors to do with that, and their own personal health. However, if somebody's injured, let's say someone takes a fall or whatever could happen. Well, there's a variable there that really can't be um, pinpointed other than to simply say this: if you're a person that's injured and you've got severe amounts of blood loss, well, if it's severe amounts of blood loss, Lord, you could pass in within minutes to depending on the circumstance, or you could very well even have a broke leg, hypothetically, and you might be out there for 3 or 4 days before
What
you
I'm
go into
thinking,
a certain level of shock that it's hard to survive.
what I'm thinking is, say they were arguing, he basically pushed her, she goes off the cliff, he panics, he looks down there, she's laying down there, say 30 feet, maybe not dead, maybe just really knocked unconscious and incapacitated, can't get up. If she
Mhm.
wakes, say he panics and leaves, just for instance, how long do you think she could live if she couldn't move? She's in the desert type, it's not like this time of year up there, the nights probably in the 50s, the days probably in the 80s. I don't think it's in the in the hundreds as it is in Arizona, but I'm just
Mhm.
saying around that. What how long do you think if she didn't have water before we can considerably say there's not much chance? I mean, he was gone. He got home
Excuse me.
days. He was home 10 days before his parents knew that she was missing.
before her
Her
parents.
parents knew that she was missing. So 10 days
Yeah,
may
Somebody
not.
very somebody very healthy. Somebody very healthy could. I mean, there's again there. I mean, I hate to say a particular pinpoint, but hypothetically, somebody could be there for 5 to 7 days. But you could actually. There have been people that have actually fallen off cliffs or made falls on the side of a mountain, go unconscious, were even knocked out for a day and a half, 2 days. Somebody might have thought they were even deceased, if you will, and then they do, in fact, and they have, in fact, come back conscious. They might very well have a level of loss of memory and not knowing where they're at and things like that, and that could last for however many days or whatever. But in theory, it is possible, is what I'm trying to say. It is possible that someone can even fall or get hurt or be lost out in mountainous terrain, desert, or whatever, and they can still be recovered, even being injured. There's been people, which you and I know this about, uh, you had the drug cartels and everything. They were always known about shooting people and leaving them out in the desert. And some of those people have actually survived and be able to come back and testify to drug cartel cases. So I wouldn't say that I give up hope on anybody. You know, all the years that me and you did it, we never gave up hope on anybody. If we were trying to find them, we never wanted to. We always, always looked in an optimistic perspective. My glass was always half full. So I'm going to try to do try to do
this one's
everything that I
glass is
can in
always
the
half empty.
No, it's not.
His glass is always half empty.
Not about certain things
half
in law.
empty.
Not
Half
no.
empty.
Hey, what somebody said the police told him, Xtina Cole, what are you talking about? The police told him how to get rid of a protective order. He was dangerous, bad call. Are we talking about somebody else?
No.
Because I don't know what type of protective order against who and what, you know.
Okay, Leisha says she was skin and bones. She was so grateful when the cops gave her water. They had ran out.
Wow.
So
Well,
skin and
Wow.
bones, she's not going to last as long in the desert as you and Tony would.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out
No,
loud?
but I'm gonna tell you, if she was hurt, and she is down there and hurt. And this is a gross thing to say, but if people will often take their own urine
Ugh.
and like into their garments and then drink their own urine to stab, if they're dehydrated that much. And you don't know where she's at or whatever. I'm just trying to say 10 days without telling the police to basically look in a certain area. It's going to be unless she got with somebody, got to water, or some way or another. I'm like you though. I don't want to give up on anybody until we find out. I know her dad's in the Grand Tetons, but I'm just
It's her
wondering,
stepfather.
but I'm just wondering this. I don't. All of the Instagram posts on him and her show Utah. I haven't seen a single one that said the Grand Tetons. I kind of think they need to be looking in Utah. But here's the thing, too. Somebody took her Instagram site offline for about 12 hours. They're trying to figure out who did that. I think it's probably going to be him, though. Took it down, but they were, freaking out about it, and I think whoever did put it back up. But
Okay, Extended Poll says, yes, they put a protection order in right then. And then she said, please address this with lots of exclamation
I
points.
don't know a protection order in Utah out there might be something different than what we're used to. A protection order in Alabama, Tennessee, the southern states, and here most of the
It's
states,
got to come from a magistrate or a judge.
a magistrate or a judge, and somebody has to swear that the officer cannot put a protection order into it. The
The
officer
only thing
can
an officer
ask
can do is a
for separation,
trespass warning.
right? Or he could ask for a separation and tell them, advise them not to contact each other. But I don't think an officer can't, in this situation, cannot do it um, without seeing the actual violation. Now, in Alabama, and I'm sure this way in Tennessee and a few other states, what they will do is if there's evidence of a domestic violence through a wound or scratch mark, they can put people in jail and get a warrant based on that. But
Well, disorderly conduct is not going to be something for a protection order either.
no, I said here, continue what you asked me. They told him how to get rid of a protection order. Who are you talking about?
You said you questioned her about something she said up there earlier.
Yes. Who's talking? I mean, where did this so-called, where did the protection order come from? I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't think the officer, I watched the video too. I never heard anything about uh, a protection order. The officer said, look, you got your phones, but y'all need to try to stay apart from each other. We would recommend basically not to contact each other. I don't think he could tell them even either way to say, don't contact them, don't contact them. What's the recourse if they do?
Is this what she's saying? They specifically said that they had to go to the station the next day in order to get the order to get the protection taken away. I don't know. I didn't see a video about that.
I did not hear that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. If they are doing something like that, I don't see how an officer, it must be something in Utah, because we don't have anything like that in the South. Southern states.
Matter of fact, we probably wouldn't have called it disorderly conduct. We would have called it harassment.
Yeah. We have, me and Tony both have had over 30 years of law enforcement each, and we have never heard of anything like that.
So that means we had 60 years. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's scary, isn't it?
Y'all are old.
We in
Not
Alabama,
many refrigerators last that long, and I think me and you are a good size of a refrigerator. So.
yeah. If let's see what she says here. And it's all on video. The police officer spent quite a while explaining to Brian to come to the station at 8 a.m. Because it was past 5 p.m. Already had to wait till then. Well, maybe it's something that they did out there. I'm unfamiliar with anything
She
like
said, please
that.
watch the video.
I'll watch it again, but I never heard anything like that. I mean,
When you get the video, when you get the link of the video, send it to me and I'll look at it too.
yeah, I will. I'll send it to you.
Of course, as you and I, Lord help, to think how many videos that we had to watch over the years of officers doing so many investigations. And
I mean, the thing is too, I mean, I don't know how an officer can do that. I that is so foreign to me. I don't know. Okay, it says you don't recall them saying that after 5 p.m. so they would not be able to go to the station today. Better go tomorrow. Are they refer? I thought they were referring to whether or not they could go if they wanted to get a protection order, not that one was in effect.
Okay, Leisha said the other cop told the main cop that he could not tell them that if they contact each other, they will be arrested because they would be unlikely to call 911 if they needed to.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know.
All right, one cop told the other cop that he couldn't tell them that if they contacted each other, they would arrest them because then they would be unlikely to call cops if they needed help.
Yeah. Chose not to arrest them, no protection order. Yeah. And like I said, I guess we'll just have to go watch it again. I'm just all of this, giving somebody a police officer issuing a protection order is so foreign to me because and Tony too, because it has to come through a judge or magistrate in our state. So because what happens, they have to go up there.
That'd be like a police officer has been deemed Judge Dredd or something.
Yeah, and in Alabama, actually, if you want a protection order, a PFO, I think they say it is, something like that, they have to get an attorney and go before a district court judge. They can't just go, or a district court magistrate. They can't just go up there. I mean, they have to go through an attorney. It costs like $75 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not like
well,
anybody.
That's why they usually get them with a victim's advocate, and a victim's advocate walks them through the process.
Right,
to
exactly.
Get protection orders if that's where that merits and all that.
Somebody holds their hand basically
so,
on all of this because it's not
right. It's not just
that easy to do.
And that's the difference in when we deal with something that's a domestic violence versus just a generalized harassment or anything else.
Yeah. But I'll send you that link then. I'll send it to your Facebook Messenger when I find it. I've got it. Okay. I mean, I've got it here if you want to copy it, but it'd be best to
yeah, just send me the link and I'll look at it tomorrow.
Let me see. See, this is the link at the top here, and if you go over, there's about 20 or 30 basically channels that had the news had it on, but like I said, it's over an hour long.
Okay, so if you just look Moab, Utah body cam. Okay.
Yeah, Mohab, but I'll send it to you. I'll pick it out and send it to you. But I mean,
Tina Co. We'll be back in touch to talk about this after we see the video more.
Yeah, absolutely.
All I saw was clips on the news this morning.
Fox News is covering it. Nightly News is covering it. This is not going away for that kid down in Florida. Something's going to have to break on that. I can't see him getting a job or doing anything while he, um, while this is hanging over his head right now, he's going to have to come forward. And a lot of people are upset at the police. Why aren't you arresting? Why aren't you in jail? Because under the current Constitution that we live under, you have the Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate yourself and to get an attorney. And believe me, there's nothing I want more than to get this guy in an interview room. But unfortunately, we can't, And hey, Extina, we're not saying you're arguing about it. We're not arguing with you either. We're just simply saying I don't know. This is so foreign to me. Maybe I overlooked it, you know. Uh, Maybe I overlooked it because this is just so foreign to me of an officer being able to issue a restraining order, some type of protection order or something. Because that's putting the officer in the judge's spot. It's not, and it may be how they do it in Utah. It's just not something that we do out here, I wanted to show you a couple of things too. Of course, this is the new poster that they're putting out in the Grand Tetons. And what we talked about was too, we encourage anybody that saw them in a great situation or a bad situation or anywhere in Utah or any of the southern states, any of the states out there to call the police because the police are trying to establish a timeline to try to see where they went, when they went there. And so if anybody can show anything about it, I really.
Yeah, and I would like to say this to Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray that they find Gabby and that she's 100% okay.
That.
And I say this with so much faith that God can. If anybody can, God can. So
well, I'm
gonna stand. That's what this will happen.
Yeah, I sent a message, told the family that we are definitely going to feature them and that we are praying for them. This is the news media went out to this family's house. You can see the houses are pretty nice houses there in Central Florida. It's not a low class neighborhood. Let me show you another missing person though, because we're getting over an hour on this one. I was sent this Beach Bum sent me this one. This out of Escambia County, Florida, near your neck of the woods, Tony. In Pensacola, 18-year-old girl considered missing, endangered. Jaden King, 18, last seen September the 9th, 2021, walking along 1,000 block of Tortuga Drive. Deputies say she was wearing a white graphic t-shirt, jeans, tennis shoes. She's 5'11", 230 pounds, brown hair, green eyes, and she just came up missing down there. So that's one that they'll need to watch out for. Also, Julie in Idaho sent me this picture. This was taken at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I guess it's not 1 o'clock in the morning because the sun's setting, but it was late. It was real late. I think they were saying like 9, 10 o'clock. The sun, it sets real late out there in the western states, but that just a beautiful, beautiful sunset, and it looks like Mars or Venus is setting that star right up there. Although it could be a UFO, Tony, we know about those UFOs, don't we?
Yeah, we definitely know about them UFOs.
Yeah,
that would be that. That whenever I get my channel going, we are going to talk about that.
Oh,
that
yeah,
particular call.
Absolutely.
Hope but as soon as we talk about it, the next thing you know, we're going to have knocks on the door, and the men in black are going to be here telling us, "Why did y'all talk about that?"
Yeah, and you know, we are going to be down there. We're actually going to be staying down there, try to the whole month of January. I'm going to be a snowbird and part of February. So if
Oh,
we don't
good. Then you can help me to get
get,
it started
get
because
everything started, absolutely.
as busy as I've been here lately, I've just not had the opportunity to try to sit down and figure out everything you were trying to show me the other day. Oh my gosh, it's a lot.
Yeah. Now, this is some pictures from that, from taken from the video, the body cam. His face is kind of
It looks like
messed.
he's got a little raspberry there under
Yeah.
that right
And
eye of
she
his.
was just kind of just really, really distraught. Now he is no longer wearing this little chain he's got around his neck. He used to wear a little shark's tooth around his neck, and I've noticed some people have told me about it, and I've noticed that it is not on the pictures that I've seen. So I don't know
Mm.
where maybe they got in an argument and one of them got it tore off. I'm anxious to see the pings they did and maybe establish some type of timeline. You know, I I I don't know.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
I think though.
Christina Cole, don't sweat it. You know, this all this is my fault that I did not pay attention to that video more, and I promise you I will go back and listen to it again. Um, um, I think she's in Utah, guys. I don't think they ever made it up there unless they did some type of, um, she did some type of FaceTime and it shows the Tetons. I heard that her phone hasn't been discovered. Yeah, that's police are saying that they have not found her phone, but what they do have is this. She talked to her mother on her mother's phone most of the time, so they can pull her mother's records and get a lot of that stuff,
Mm,
you know. But and if they're arguing and they're hiking, they said uh they were hiking all over some pretty scary peaks and people wondering how they got up there. But, if they're hiking up there and she slipped or they got in a shoving match and he pushed her and she fell and hit her head and panics, who knows what really happened, Um,
right.
I don't, um, let's see, said here, I understand, but that here, when you put your hands on somebody, there's a 3-year order that's a reason for so I justified allow together. So, but I'm going to tell you about a protection order. It's a piece of paper, and I've seen and heard of people walking through protection orders and killing people all the time. It's a deterrent only if you're afraid of it and afraid of the repercussions. If they don't fear the repercussions of it, it doesn't mean anything,
Which is the
unfortunately.
reason. Which is the reason why law enforcement and partners with usually a faith-based community in a geo area has the safe homes or safe locations where uh, battered spouses can go, or people that have been abused by boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever,
I
to
mean, let
give
me tell
them to
you,
give them that opportunity for protection and safe haven, so to speak.
yeah, I'm gonna tell you what I think of him. I think he's a idiot and a coward because he does not come forward with this information and help out where he left her. Even if they got in a fight and he just says, you know what, I'm leaving. But see, he says, and it was on one of the Instagram posts he posts, he said, I'm afraid I'm going to wake up from this dream and she's going to be gone. And, but it's to death do we part. and all this. So I'm thinking he was so much in love, infatuation, call it what you want. And something happened. They decided to call it quits for a while or whatever, and he couldn't handle it. I think that he just went off and said, basically, if I can't have you, nobody can, and did something to her, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a
I
sad
don't.
situation.
I do not have any nice things to say about him. And I'll just tell you right now, I don't have any nice things to say. Sure, he has a legal right to contact an attorney, a legal right not to say anything. That's what built this country. But you're talking about a whole family is distraught. I'm going to tell you, Tony, and I know it for a fact, if this was your daughter or my daughter and some kid was holding information, I'm telling you, I'd probably be in jail right now. I'm telling you, information. I mean, I'm not encouraging the fathers to go over there and have a talk with him, but I know a lot of people are appealing to his self, appealing to him as a human being and saying, look, he's not going to get away with it. If he killed her, he's not going to get away with it. It's going to be found out sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
And, why not just tell the right? I hate to sound like this kind of like the attorney type thing here, but he's holding all the cards right now. If he wants a great deal, if he did something to her, now be the time to go and say, look, my client is prepared to tell everything and tell you where he last left her, everything, but he wants, if he does do jail time, he wants, you know, 20 years or 10 years or whatever, In other words, he needs to, he could make some type of a deal. He's in a position to, but the longer this
Right.
drags out, I'm telling you, he could go to jail forever and needs to go to
Right.
jail forever. I
Well,
don't know.
it is like we've talked about this before. Anytime anybody goes missing, it's a sad situation. And if someone had last seen them, if you have no reason to hide anything or whatever, there really shouldn't be any reason not to want to go and be out there looking for them or whatever else. That's just the normal thing that anybody would want to do, especially if that's his. It was his future fiance or wife or
I
whatever.
mean, he asked her to marry him. She said yes before the trip. They moved from a house into about 100 square foot space, and I think that's where they got to really, things got heated, some things happened, and for whatever thing, he probably called it off. And listen, and don't get me wrong, and I don't think Tony's saying this, and I'm sure not saying this. We are not encouraging violence, and we are not encouraging anybody take the law in their own hands. We're simply saying this: if I can't tell you what I would do as a parent if my child was in the same situation, I'm not going to tell you, put it that way. But it's just because there's so much emotion in this. This guy has come back to Florida and he's not giving any information. He's just saying nothing. It's his right under the law, but there's a lot of people hurting, and if he ever hopes to get anything other than, if he goes to prison, anything other than 100 years in prison, he better start cooperating with law enforcement right now and say, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not because if he goes to trial and they convict him, he ain't getting out of jail. They'll sentence him forever, knowing what he does right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, thank you, Tony, for coming on. I want you to come on again, and when we all this stuff as this rocks along, I want us to examine it a little bit closer. I know that I kind of hit you up out of the blue today because, and I've been actually in the big metropolitan place of Boaz today, getting some things straightened out. But just I'll get up with you by phone in the next probably next week here. We are heading up to Michigan through Ohio, um, starting next week after Tuesday. So we'll hope to see the leaves change. But
Well, all you gotta do is look in the mirror. You can see the white stuff already on top.
you're so funny. But Tony, I'm very proud of Tony and his accomplishments through the paramedics and paramedics programs, and y'all be sure to keep uh, the Gabby's family in your prayers, and the fact that uh, we need to at least try to get her home or get some information on how we can get her home. And if y'all hear anything that we need to know about it, please email us at the missing live stream at gmail.com, or um, leave us a message in the comments and we'll see if we can't get back. And well,
Thank you, thank you, Tommy, and thank everybody else for giving me
well, you can
congrats
come
on
on
that.
here anytime you want to, Tony. In fact, I almost called you and asked you to start without me today because I thought I was going to be running late. But we will get together and get your channel up and started regardless. And as we are out on the road, we are going to actually be even discussing some stuff on our travel channel. We're going to discuss some stuff in the future about traveling armed. We did a video on this about 6 months ago. We're going to try to do another one, and we're going to address that violence is picking up in our national parks. As this, we're not sure what happened with this case and the two females that were murdered out there near Moab, and how it affects people not necessarily camping as much in the national parks, the state parks, but doing what we call boondocking, and that is camping in the wilderness areas where you're out there kind of like by your lonesome. So anyway, be praying that Gabby gets found, praying for her family. Be praying for everybody that you know that has this dreaded disease, COVID. And we will be talking to y'all. Be praying for Julie and Doc. Doc's not doing real well, and we want to continue to pray for them. Congratulations to Tony again on his certificate. That is not an easy task to accomplish. So he will be back, and probably do something with that hair though. It's gotten whiter and whiter.
Yeah, my wife already told me the other day I might need to dye it again because
Might get a date with Miss
she,
Clairol. Her
yeah,
hair's
because
not gray at all. So what's up with that?
I know it. She's got the
Much
forever young
younger
Wonder
than
Woman
you are,
look.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's
yeah.
much younger than you are. So
Well, all I can say is me and you aren't sugar daddies, so I don't know what it is that our wives love us for. But
me and you both married up.
yeah, we married up.
We both married up. All right. So
You
we
know,
will talk.
it's kind of like going to the dog pound. You know, the little dog is looking at you, going, "That's probably what it was." They just felt sorry for us.
That's right. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody coming in tonight. We love y'all, and we'll be praying for each and every one of you. And we'll just keep in touch with this case. And hang, Anthony, if you hold on just a minute, I'll send that over to your Facebook. Give me about
Okay.
5 minutes.
All
See
right.
you.
Y'all be blessed. See ya.
Good night.